putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. So a guy by the name of Jorge Avila, he said this of the Vegas shooting. Stephen Paddock, the Las Vegas shooter, is a consequence of the hatred that Donald Trump has awakened, not just in the U.S., but the world. And it cracks me up when leftists take these types of tragedies and they immediately want to assign it to somebody. It's like that stupid Holly weirdo, I forget, Hunger Games girl, who decided that she was going to make the hurricanes about Donald Trump, a wrath of the Trump voter. You know, really? So look, as much as I disliked Obama's policies, I don't care about Obama. Me personally, I don't like Obama. It didn't come up. It didn't start out that way. I didn't care one way or other about Obama. I cared about his politics. As I got to know him as president, I find him to be a vile creature. I don't think there's nothing about Obama that I like. People are like, Kevin, would you want to meet him? Why would I want to meet Barack Obama? We almost got invited to the White House under Obama, and I made sure they knew I wouldn't go. I wrote back and said I'd issue a press release that says I was invited, but I will not go. I have no respect for Barack Obama, not only on a policy issue, but this was around 2000, maybe 12 or so. I don't remember, but they wanted to invite a bunch of black conservatives and journalists to the White House. And I was like, I won't go. And there were black people, man, I'll go, shoot, get invited to the White House. If I got invited to the White House, if Barack Obama says, I want to talk policy with you guys, and I've seen the error of my ways, and we need to really address these issues. And you know what? Black conservatives, you have taken the brunt of racial insensitivity from black leftists, and it's time we put an end to that. I would have happily gone to that discussion. But he didn't do that. And so as I learned more about Barack Obama, there's nothing about him that I like. In the end, the left made sure that I didn't like him. I didn't like his policies. I don't like his attitude. I don't like that he dismissed the Republicans and said, I don't need to meet with them. I don't like that he called the Tea Parties up. Well, who are they? Acted like he didn't know who we were. I don't like the many elements of the way he did things. I don't like that he told people that he was going to have to give up his life as president, and then he went out and he acted as if he wasn't even president. This dude took vacations, he played golf, he hobnobbed with the rich and famous. He built a career on the backs of the American taxpayers, and then left us holding the bag. $20 trillion of debt, almost a deficit that beyond belief. More money than countries spend in decades, we spend in a year. And nothing to show for it. Racial strife beyond belief. I could go on. No, I don't like him. I become, hardened towards the guy because he's a liar. He's a dude that'll tell you what you want to hear, and then he goes and does exactly the opposite, and he's slick about it. We all know somebody like him. You might even have a member in your family. I did. We had a couple of them. But anyway, I want to move on. I want to talk about this Vegas shooter being a Democrat. And people are like, Kevin, how do you know? Let me just tell you, I don't know. It isn't like I watched him vote. I didn't go pull his voter records. I'm just telling you a few things. One, most conservatives have too much time. We don't have enough time on our hands to go try to plot mass murder. Number two, we're not going to shoot up a country and western. Number three, we don't tend to do illegal things like make our rifles into automatic weapons in order to go kill country folk, listen to country music. And I could go on. Right now, we live in a time where, we've seen enough. We watch Hodgkinson go shoot up the Republicans playing softball or baseball. That should be all you need to see to know that it takes nothing to set these people off. Leftists are on a hair trigger squeeze at everything. And right now with Donald Trump as president, it certainly didn't cross my mind that it wasn't somebody, related to the left. Radical Islamist, or if it is a white dude, and it turned out that it was, a radical white Democrat. So he was a older white man. They say the average mass shooter is 35 years old. I couldn't find any data to back that up. But the data that I did find, the research that I was able to get, I don't have a reason to doubt the number. They talked about things like domestic violence and chemically, jacked up, that kind of stuff. Tends to be younger generation, the Ritalin kids, right? So, again, no surprise there, but does it really matter? He's a white dude, older white cat. More to learn, but he was seeing a woman by the name of Mary Lou Danley, which we talked about earlier on, and she was described as Asian, and I'm going to take the media's word for it. She looks Asian to me, but she could be Mexican, she could be, whatever. She could be a variety of things. She might even profess to being a black man for all I know. Now, interestingly, we came up on some graphics from her Facebook page, and I can give you a couple more updates about her. So, in the one graphic, she's posed on a boat, kind of like, hey, look at me, I'm in my new boots and my black outfit, and she's taking, not a glamour shot, but the shot's meant to be seductive. So, somebody takes a picture, she's smiling, and then a little bit further down, you see that it's her husband. She's married, and the guy's name is Gary Daniel, Geary. Not, he probably pronounces it Gary. Anyway, Gary Danley, and in all caps on December 22nd of 2016 at 6:59 p.m. he says, "Very pretty. Enjoy the holidays. GD." Gary Danley. So, anyway, it appears that her husband and she are either separated or they don't celebrate the holidays together. So my question was, given that she's, quote, Asian, and that was the press that said it, was this one of these marriages that was a ruse for citizenship? I don't know. So then we went to Gary's page, and a couple things. One, he says married. He's got there married to Mary Lou Danley. And then the second thing is, he's a leftist, because he's got a piece on there where he is a fan of the Rachel Maddow show. Big fan. And his likes on his page, like, what do you like? What TV shows? Oh, Rachel Maddow, she's the bomb, or he's the bomb, or what's Rachel? Is that dude with the girl's name? Anyway, Rachel Maddow. Now, this doesn't prove that Danley's wife is a leftist, but it does suggest it, because the majority of us choose people that we're what we call equally yoked to. And of course, I want to say this: Gary Danley has nothing to do with the shooting in Vegas. But there's another twist. The Daily Wire had reported that Paddock only used Danley's identification because she's out of the country. But the twist is, Danley, Mary Lou, supposedly warned people that the shooting was going to come. She went up to people and said, "You're all going to die." And supposedly security escorted her out, saying, okay, she's a crazy woman, talking about everybody's all going to die. So I don't, it's tough to know what's real. And so again, people are like, well, Kevin, you can't say this. Yeah, I can. I'm reporting it just like I'm doing this radio show. I don't know whether this lady is truly overseas. This story doesn't have a whole lot. The only part of the story that matters to me is the fact that dozens of people have been killed, hundreds of people have been injured, and we're not talking about the human tragedy of it, which is all we should be focused on, because that would help us solve the problem. That would help us look into the pathology of not Gary Daniel, he's not associated, of Stephen Paddock, and prevent this. But the left doesn't want that. In fact, they encourage this. They are looking at this. They're going to see, well, we can get gun control. He's probably off of his meds. We can get people registered, as stupid people and all this other stuff. They're not looking at it from the human tragedy side. Oh, they'll try to fool you into believing that they are, but they're not. But these people, when it's all said and done, you'll find out he's a hardcore leftist. who used that automatic machine gun in order to make a point. He wanted to show us, look, this is what can happen if you don't do something about gun control. And then he shot up a bunch of white folks because he knows they're not going to complain. I don't know. Those are my theories around this. I'm positive this guy's a Democrat. If I'm proven to be wrong, I'll let you know. We'll be back.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.